What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of BarkleyLakeBassin. I apologize that I haven't been here for a little bit. I've been really busy with work and a couple other things, so I've just not really had a whole lot of time to record. This episode is going to be about a staple bait when it comes to bass fishing. A very important bait that every angler should use, that most anglers, entry level to professional, use. This is the first bait I ever threw, or one of. I'm not positive it was the very first, but it was one of the first baits I ever threw. And it's a very versatile bait. You can use it in a lot of different ways and a lot of different situations. And that bait is the jig. Now here on my rod here, I've got a little bit shorter rod on this setup, but I'll kind of explain it later. But I've got a 6'6" heavy, extra fast rod here with a high speed Abu Garcia reel. And here I've got, let me pull it off. But here I've got what they call a stroking jig. A stroking jig is a jig that you cast out and you yank real hard and you stroke it through structure or grass or even the open water to cause a reaction strike. That's what the head of it looks like. It's really round, it's bulky. As you can see here, it's got a little bit of green to it. It's got some orange to it. I've got a green and blue crawl on it. You know, it's a fairly neutral color. Jigs come in all kinds of colors. There's purples, there's blues, there's oranges, there's greens, there's blacks, there's browns, there's combinations of reds and all kinds of different colors. There's all kinds of different types of jigs too. There's the arky jig, there's the stroking jig, there's what they call a structure jig, there are swim jigs, swim bait jigs, so many different jigs. You can use them in so many different ways. There's all kinds of different types of jigs, and there's also all kinds of different trailers. A lot of people will throw a really small swim bait behind a swim jig. Some people will throw something like this here. This is what's called a chigger crawl. It's made by Power Bait by Berkley. It's blue in color, as you can see here. There's what people call a jig and pig, or a chunk, which is this right here. This is about a medium-sized chunk. It's just a big piece of meat right here, and then two little legs right here. Imitates bait fish, imitates crawfish, all kinds of different things. And this one here, I don't know if many people know about this, but this is a net bait. They're made in Alabama, in Greenville, Alabama. This is their packer crawl. This is a really big trailer. Really imitates a crawfish really well. This one is, I believe, called Okeechobee Crawl. That's the color of this. It's green. It's got a little bit of blue to it. Really big trailer. It moves a lot of water. It can really imitate a crawfish really well. Another great thing about jigs is the fact that you can throw them in just about any situation. You can throw them into cover, like up underneath the dock, or into brush piles, or you can throw them out in open water. You can throw them in grass. You can throw them in all kinds of different situations. I live on Barkley Lake and fish Barkley, Kentucky a lot. So I do a lot of ledge fishing, a lot of brush fishing. And so I'm used to throwing out towards stumps or into brush piles. And I can get a jig up on there and into some of that stuff, and I can lift it up over each limb of a brush pile, or I can thump it around a stump. You know, that's what I'm used to around here. We went to Lake Pickwick a little while back, and I was actually using that jig that I've got tied on right there, and stroking it through grass, really just ripping it, letting it sink, ripping it, letting it sink, ripping it, letting it sink. And that was a pretty effective way for us to throw a jig. I've caught them just swimming it, you know, just slowly cranking it or just burning it. I mean, there's all kinds of different ways you can fish a jig. That's one of the things I really like about it is you can tie one bait on one rod and one reel and throw it multiple different ways and catch fish using it. I always fish it on fluorocarbon. Very well. Most of the time fish it on fluorocarbon. I don't hardly ever use braid. I will in certain situations. Seagar makes a braid called flipping braid. If I know I'm going to be uptight to the bank, throwing into some really thick cover, that would be when I would use something like that, because that's what that braid is made for. But 90% of the time I just throw it on fluorocarbon. If you get hung and get hung very deep, make sure you retie, check your line, make sure you don't have any kinks, because fluorocarbon damages easily. And if there's any nick in the line, any kinking to the line, then you're gonna lose the bait. You might lose it the next time you get hung. You might lose it on a 5-pound bass. You never know. So just, be careful when you're tying it on the fluorocarbon. I always use 20-pound test. I used to use 15, but I beefed up a little bit because 20-pound has a little bit more strength to it. So it's a little bit more able to get into some of that stuff like brush or rock piles, and you can beat it up a little bit more before it's as likely to break. So that's kind of why I beefed my line up a little bit. Confidence thing really is all that is. Another thing that I really like about the jig is the fact that it's a big fish bait. Sure, you're probably going to catch little fish on it, but it is a guaranteed big fish bait. No telling how many people or I know that fish that have caught 5, 6, 7, 8-pound bass throwing a jig. It's a proven bait that has withstood the test of time. There are lots of baits that come and go, like certain color crankbaits, or like certain techniques that have come and gone, but the jig is here to stay. It's going to be a staple of bass fishing for the rest of my life, for the rest of your life, probably for the rest of your children and your children's life. It's a staple bait, and it's known to produce fish. You can do all sorts of different things with it. You can do all sorts of different things to it. You can trim the skirt up, make it more of a finesse presentation. You can bulk the skirt up. There's regular skirts. There are skirts that are made by Living Rubber. Look into them. Just go to Google or whatever search engine. Type in Living Rubber. You're going to go to their website. You're going to be amazed. It's a really neat product. All kinds of different colors, all kinds of different baits that you can throw it with, or trailers that you can throw it with, different situations you can throw it in. It's just an all-around good fish bait. If you like this episode, make sure to hit the thumbs up button below, as well as the subscribe button if you haven't already. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you learned something. I hope you're able to take this out and apply it on the water and hopefully catch some big fish. Leave a comment down below of any video requests you might have, anything you might want me to talk about, or something you might want to see. Until next time, I'm Barkley Lake Bassin. I'll catch you later.